Uh, very rightly said, Elsa. Uh, we at IH3 also believe in engaging with people from multiple political ideologies across the spectrum. So that is something we also focus on. Thank you for that, Pallavi. You are on mute.
Okay, great to hear about Elsa. Waiting to hear about Arpita. A little bit about me, और हिंदी और इंग्लिश में थोड़ा शिफ्ट करूंगी. Audience में शायद दोनों languages किसी को अगर comfortable हो तो. So my pretty much my background, just to tell, I actually come from the corporate background. I am a communication and design strategist. I I always tell people I've lived a very comfortable, privileged life, but all my life I wanted to join politics, not knowing what my agenda would be, or it was just a dream. Like some people just have a dream to become some. Join, right? It always looked like, people from the middle class usually go ahead and join the corporate world, or start their own business. This was never. But then, of course, I think I believe that your heart eventually leads you to what you want to do, and that happened to me as well. And it happened at a time when probably the kind of my ideology and my politics challenge in some ways the things that were happening in the society. So there were multiple events that happened, I guess, which kind of added one on top of the other, which kind of got me saying that I have to now act, right? I'm very vocal, while speaking about my politics, but I think doing, there is nothing more healing than doing, right? Whenever you are in pain. And I thought that I have to do this, and I guess you have to just do it once, and then you realize that the healing is only by doing. And so that happened, and SheRep was a great, it was just a chance where I always say it was a chance, because my ex-boss kind of just, everyone knew in my around me that I always wanted to join politics. So she just sent me a form saying, hey, this is floating around, do you want to apply? Deadlines, long, late night, cannot apply, last day, applied somehow, not knowing for sure I don't have any background, won't get selected. Got selected. I can speak later maybe about my experience at SheRep, but it's been excellent. And then of course, then finding a mentor who completely aligned with the kind of work that I wanted to do, someone that I can really work from, that really helped for me. For many people it's many things. For me it was about finding that mentor, and then finding that party, and then finding that channel which kind of would work. And like you said, public life. So I don't have a public life. While I actually actively call myself a politician, but I don't have a public life at all, because I work more in organizational politics. So it's behind the scenes. Many days I don't even leave home actually, so it's very different. But I do meet more people than I used to meet earlier. So you can say public life, but it's not. But it's definitely been like 1.5 years of like absolute like steep learning curve, like what Elsa said. It's exactly, it's been that. It's been just wonderful to meet from people across the country. One thing that what do you think is the problem with the country? And I said that nobody's interested in politics. And I was really schooled at that time to tell that, what, there are so many people right now fighting for elections, then they have their teams, then they have people who are grooming them, people supporting them. So people are interested, in politics. And one thing I've learned is the number of people who are in politics. And I've also learned about the number of women who are in politics, right? So I think getting into politics, active politics, actually has put me in so much of a positive frame of mind, I would say, about the situation, about the country.
Yeah, thank you, Pallavi. As you said that you are in politics, but you are not in public life. I think one of the most important things of politics is that also to build this strategy, specialized roles in politics. Uh, as much as I know, Arpita is also working on organization building with NSUI. So Arpita would like to hear from you.
Thank you, Shruti. Thank you, ISD, for creating this wonderful space. Firstly, I'm really happy to be here. I'm actually working for the municipality elections in a rural constituency here in Assam. And I was just campaigning with the candidate. We have the polling on 6th, and the campaigning stops day after. So I was like, no, I have to go at 6, and because I have this program and I cannot miss it, I'll come join you guys after 7:30. But yeah, for me, I have since childhood seen my grandparents, my father, my sister, be in the do social work and serve people, and I've always seen that joy in on their faces whenever they could do the smallest of the smallest things for people in their community, and that used to always make me very happy. But in school I was into a lot of things, extracurricular person, and I never thought that I would really step into the world of student politics or politics in general and engage in that environment. So it was in first year of college, 2018, I vividly remember. So just when we joined Delhi University, we see the whole campaigning going on for Delhi University Students' Union election, and it was such a vibrant atmosphere for me. I felt like, oh my God, I need to explore this arena, because before that I never had the thought of being even in that space. I thought I'll go to college, do my dancing, join a dance society, study well. Didn't really expect to be in that space. But I knew that the only organization or party that at that point of time that I could align to was National Student Union of India. So I went to their office and I told them that, I believe in your cause and I'd like to be a part of your organization and help. So that's when I started campaigning, started organizing various programs. I still vividly remember before the COVID happened, as a member of NSUI, they would always give me responsibility to organize various competitions. And I used to very happily organize these dance competitions under NSUI's banner. And there we had, more than 500, 600 participants across the U come in and participate. And I saw that space, where you could actually bring in your passion. I could bring in my passion for dance and politics, and create opportunities for these young students. And during that time, I realized many important movements happened, like the CA movement. And because I came from Assam and I was situated in Delhi at that point of time, I knew what the situation was for me back at home. Like, phone services were disrupted. I couldn't talk to my mom. I couldn't talk to my sister. And sometimes I would somehow receive a message that they're having trouble buying groceries.
Okay.
I'm still getting goosebumps saying these things because it was so hear all of those things. So that's when I started organizing protests, demonstrations. With just like one day before, I'd circulate on social media that people from Assam Northeast, please come in and let's try and do this. And back then, I remember the bill had not yet passed in Rajya Sabha. So we were there, and I saw that not just students from Assam, there were students from other communities, from who didn't even belong to India, who understood our cause, joined in. Not just students, even people who were working there, or aged people. They all came in, and I realized the true power of democracy. That's when it suddenly hit me that there's so much that you can do with just your thought, and just that how you can channelize your emotions, like how I could channelize my fear, my anger into something that would at least create awareness. And there were some important events like that. And then eventually I realized that it's not just enough for me um, to explore on field. I have to gather knowledge theoretically as well. And that's when I started exploring programs like Indian School of Democracy provides, and other. I was part of other organizations as well. And it's been very enriching. I think I owe it to these fellowships and these programs that I've done, like She Leads. I've done She Leads a few days back, and I've done a few other programs. And I realized the importance of women in politics only after that. Before that, I did face challenges as a woman, as a girl, as a young girl, but it didn't really get to me. I thought, okay, maybe I'm the only one. Maybe it's just happening to me. And then when I met these amazing other women, I realized that it's not just me in this world alone, in this space alone. So yeah, I'm super grateful to be part of this network, and I'm looking forward to continue.
Thank you, Arpita, for what you have shared right now. I think it's something which all of us at some point have felt, and we can feel you. Um, Arpita and Elsa have talked about She Leads. I would also like to mention very proudly that Indian School of Democracy is the content partner for She Leads, which is another all women's program, which is a shorter program. She Represents is a slightly longer program. Uh, my another question is from Elsa. Elsa, can you share your experience of building an organization? What are the challenges you faced as a woman? Uh, can you share how often you have to go to the political or go through the political or bureaucratic system to get your work done, and how has been your experience over there?
So thank you for that question. It's a really great one. So when I started, I came from the corporate sector where I headed a department, but I wasn't responsible for the entire organization. So for me, being an entrepreneur itself was a new job. I didn't have any clue how to start a business, how to operationalize my idea, how to generate revenue for a social impact topic, and a topic that is highly taboo, that nobody really wants to talk about, let alone fund. And you can't see the results immediately, or it is not tangible. See, when people donate money or give a grant, they want to see the impact right away. So they are happy to, somebody explained it, like if they can put their board on a school or on a toilet or on the bag of a child, or they can pay a medical bill, that is instant, right? You pay for food. But what about sexual violence? You're challenging socio-cultural norms that are centuries old. Change doesn't happen quickly. It takes time. So thinking about the business side of this organization whilst being passionate about learn, you're thrown into the deep end and you learn to swim, I would say. So it's baby steps of trying what works, what doesn't work, both in terms of the issue. So when we first started, nobody had heard of crowdsourced data, crowd mapping tools, and they didn't know how this data set. How do you get somebody to invest in you? Going back to my corporate job, I try to create products. Education cannot be complete if there's no gender sensitivity and education on child sexual abuse prevention. So would you like to fund that? Or would you like to fund it in the corporates? Thankfully, at the same time, we had the POSH Act, the Prevention of Sexual Harassment at the Workplace Act, that came up. And it mandated that corporates had to implement these policies, right? Had to train their staff, had to train the investigation committee members, had to have somebody who is a neutral member in their committee. So for us, that became a revenue stream. And over a period of time, I learned how to write grants, because writing a grant means you need to speak the language of the development sector, which is totally different from the corporate sector. But over a period of time, I think we've kind of, learned how to do that. So there's a lot of learning, self-awareness, resilience, perseverance, being humble. You depend a lot on volunteers, and I think political parties too. People who offer their time may not always think of it as a priority. So you kind of balance that need for quality with also the lack of resources. So you are dependent on volunteers to get your work done. But I think over a period of time, I've learned to juggle that. I always say doing this work is harder than optimizing 500 daily flights, so that was a piece of cake. Doing the work that I currently do is really, really hard. Getting women to share their stories, talk about sexual violence, get people to do something about it and act. But I will also say that the data that we collect now, 10 years later, people have started to recognize the value of it. We are the largest crowd map in the world. It's really getting police engaged, civic authorities engaged, other NGOs. Only talk about safety in your workplace, you have to also provide safety in the society and the ecosystem. So think transportation, think about the space immediately outside your office. How are you accountable to your employees if that is not safe? And building a culture of safety where you're before it happens, how can we prevent it? And I draw a lot from my previous roles in the aviation industry as a safety instructor, where we spent a lot of time training to build situational awareness and quicker responses in times of crisis and emergencies, to also the use of data. Instructor teaching pilots and crew. So I do believe that the training we provide is really top class, and that gives us an edge over the others. But having said that, in this sector, I also feel there's a lot of collaboration. None of the issues can be solved by any one of us. Value to each other's work. So I never see it as a competitive landscape, but really a collaborative landscape where if all of us pitched in, all of us did our job, we can push the needle on these topics.
Yeah, very truly said, Elsa. Thank you for that. Pallavi, I would also like to know about your challenges and how difficult it was to make that one decision.
Decision
of leaving your corporate life and getting into politics.
Okay, I'll come to that. वो decision actually मेरे लिए बहुत आसान था. It took one conversation, that's all. बहुत ही आसान था. It was like a switch and it went on, right? लेकिन मैं सबसे पहले आप जो बोले challenges के बारे में ना, तो women in politics जो आपने बोला कि वो जो topic है आज का, वो ही उसके बारे में मैं आपसे थोड़ा बात करूँगी. The main question is why women in politics ना? Like why women in politics? है ना? ये अभी मैं कैजुअली बोल रही हूँ, लेकिन ये बहुत लोगों के मन में अभी है. Why women in politics? Why do you want to come? You're comfortable. Stay, right? Yeah. And this thing, right? Why women in dash? Why women in offices? That question is still there. Why women in a garden loitering around? Still there. Why women, why women at this concert? Still there. Right?
Why are women driving?
Yeah, why are women driving? Still there in the car, right? In the driver's seat. Why women in driver's seat? ये जो question है, ये I think ये challenge नहीं बोलूँगी politics में. ये एक reality है हमारे existence का, बचपन से जब से पैदा हुए हैं. और ये reality सिर्फ आपको जो नेगेटिव काम होता है आपके खिलाफ उसमें नहीं दिखाई देता है, but you also see this in the positive work that is happening. Because I remember my first impression of my identity was also that I used to see Save Girl Child ads, which is actually a very positive thing, right? But I saw that and I thought to myself, oh, women are not safe, because I was kind of in a safe environment. Na, मेरे माता पिता, मेरे अगल बगल के लोग. So एक idea starts forming, and then you start watching the stories, they're just casual stories of your friends, your own stories, and you start thinking, why am I getting treated differently? Why am I getting treated differently? Why is someone else getting treated differently? ये जो challenge है, ये challenge नहीं है, एक reality world. आपका अंदर का जो रियलिटी उसके मैच नहीं हो रहा है. एंड पूरा कॉन्फ्लिक्ट जो है, वो कॉन्फ्लिक्ट यही है कि मेरे अंदर का जो रियलिटी मेरे अस्तित्व का है वो बाहर दिखाई नहीं दे रहा है, राइट? एंड ये चैलेंज आपका चलता ही रहता है. तो ये जो चैलेंज है, जब तक आपको ये नहीं मिल जाता है, एंड देन वी स्टार्ट लुकिंग फॉर दैट वर्ल्ड वेयर दिस where I feel that, oh yes, this is the world जो अंदर के वर्ल्ड से मैच होता है. So very, very beautiful. But more you go out, it's not a world like that. So then you start getting held up in a smaller and a smaller and a smaller space, only in few places. Then you start hanging around only with few people. Then you start only talking to people who align with you and all of that. I think the one thing that really changed for me and switched for me is just saying, but this entire world is mine. right? Even in the spaces where I'm not allowed, that is mine, right? So why women in politics? People have many reasons for it, right? The biggest challenge, why women in politics? People say because they are more caring, because if women go, then more women will come behind them. They will train more women. All these reasons work against women. Because if a woman doesn't bring up another woman, if a woman doesn't show the caring qualities, then suddenly you say, okay, all women cannot do this. See, look at her. The reason why we need women in politics is simply very, very factual. We are in a representative politics. 50% almost of the country need it. Very badly put in a language that probably men will also understand. It's like आधा bat मेरा है, batting मैं भी करूंगी. It is as simple as that, right? The reason we need is because we are there, and that I feel is, and once you, and I think a lot of the other thing is, I feel is that why women in politics is simply because it is fun. It is fun. People speak so much about the drudgery of politics and it's so sad and challenges every day. एक तो दूसरे पार्टी के खिलाफ आप लड़ रहे हो, दूसरे representative के खिलाफ लड़ रहे हो, अपने टीम के अंदर लड़ रहे हो. But no, it is actually also fun. It's a great career option for a woman as well. I think we need to say that more. It is more fun for women as well, and hence women in politics. It's a very viable career for women. And when I say career, I don't mean it in the cold way. It means it can be a place of passion, right? It's very, very fun. And I feel that, and realization that women are an untapped capacity and talent in the country, in politics itself. There is a growing realization that's happening, right? And I think women should just tap that, right? If you feel for it, right? And उसके बाद of course आपका जो struggle है वो there outside. But once you make up this big thing of you understanding why a woman should be in politics, once you understand that as a woman why I should be in politics, after that then of course the challenges come is, what is the right way to join politics? Many people have that as the biggest challenge. The other thing is, what is the right party to join? Should I, just be independent? Should I have a party? Should I do organization politics? People don't even know about it. They only know that politics means you are fighting election. So you all find this takes around a few months. Okay, so a big challenge is patience, I feel. Lots of patience with, just going with this flow, while, all these other challenges in the society remain about a woman being in politics, right? But this patience of, waiting for the right, this thing, understanding. And once you hit upon that, then of course you can start, because you have done this entire journey, right? ये आपका एक पूरा journey हो चुका है जहां आप खुद का पॉलिटिक्स जो है उसको ढूंढ के आपने जितना संघर्ष किया है, ये बाहर का पॉलिटिक्स जो अभी भी है, हाँ, आप सिर्फ मतलब 13% हो पार्लियामेंट में, और स्टेट्स में तो आप मतलब सिर्फ 9% कहीं आप हो. एंड वर्स्ट केस सिनेरियो इन एजुकेटेड स्टेट्स लाइक हाई लिटरेट स्टेट्स लाइक केरला, देयर इज ओनली सम 3 or very 6-7% or something. In matriarchal societies like in the northeast, in some of the places there are 3 or 5, right, percent, which is very, very, which suddenly makes you think, then what society, politics, fully different, right? It's fully different. So that remains. But once you are, I feel that at least that's been my journey. Once I have understood my politics and why I should be, after that I feel then you are in such a strong space. I feel you're very, very grounded, you are rooted now. Okay, now you can take on those challenges which are there, and they are very much there, and just a lot of fun doing that. I feel बहुत मजा आता है मुझे वो चैलेंज लेने में, है ना? So that's it.
Thank you, Pallavi, for that, for actually हमारे साथ अपना पैशन इतना ओपनली शेयर करने के लिए. I could feel that passion through the screen, and it was so nice to listen to you, and thank you. I will go to Arpita for the same question about challenges. I know Pallavi has shared a lot, and after that, there's no, there can't be more than that. But Arpita, can you also share your perspective on that?
Yeah, absolutely. I think I really agree with Pallavi when she said it's a fun, politics is fun for women, because when you're able to overcome those challenges and prove 10, 15 other men who are trying to put you down कि मैंने करके दिखाया, it really does give me that kick as well. So I would agree. I could really understand when she said that it's actually fun. But yeah, challenges, I think initially when I joined, I talk from my personal experience. Initially when I joined NSUI, I was very young and I didn't have any understanding. I joined as a member. And then there were men around me all the things like that. Repeatedly after saying no, I had to keep on hearing things like that. And then when I'd be very firm about it that no, I'm not interested, because they were in a higher position, they would sort of like boycott me, not try to include me in programs and stuff like that. So these are some of the things that I used to face. Environment when we are in a group of women, जैसे हम she represents में देखते थे, Democracy Express में we saw 50% women, 50% men, she lead. It's not like that in the real world. I remember when I was in college, first year of college, and I was in an exploration phase, and I had blue. She came to me and said, "अरे NSUI में आजकल ये blue hair भी चलता है." And I remember as a 19-year-old hearing that, because I had done quite a good amount of work in my capacity. And then to hear that from another woman in position of power, I started questioning myself. Because, and even now people tell me, okay, you should stop dancing. It doesn't suit your image as a politician. You don't look serious. And that's the most bizarre thing that people can, and it especially comes from men normally, and to hear things like that. We have had famous actors, actresses, people from the cultural field lead states, lead constituencies, be in the parliament, represent people. So why cannot people like me, a girl like me, have the passion of pursuing both, being a dancer and being in the political space as well? So those are some of the things that I still have to hear about how I dress, how I look. सफेद कुर्ता नहीं पहना है तो तुम कैसे कर रही हो, मतलब how are you doing this, things like that. So I really wanted to bring that change, that I am not. I remember I used to campaign for the Delhi University students in an election, and people used to always constantly tell me, okay, if you have to look like a politician, why don't you wear a white kurta? Why don't you just wear shoes, remove your glasses, put on lenses, ye sab? I was like, how does what I wear, how I look, how my hair is, align with the work that I have to do? It does not matter at all. So altogether, the patriarchal society and the sexism that exists within the system is one of the greatest challenges. And I don't know when when the society will truly come out of it. I think there are still have to face. I remember last year I was working the assembly election in Assam, and we used to go out for campaigns 8-9 in the morning, come back 7-8 baje sham ko, and all the while we couldn't go to we didn't have access to washroom, especially when we were menstruating. It was a huge problem. We had to be like that, and because there were men around all the time, even if I'd say you should not come, and things like that. And in a rural constituency, again, menstruation is a taboo. So if they see, if by any chance my clothes get stained, or if they find out, then to matlab, vote only I have taken only away from the candidate. So there are systemic barriers like that we still I'm feeling like I do not deserve to be in this space. The imposter syndrome max. I went to this award show a few days back where many women from Assam were being felicitated, given an award for remarkable work in the field of politics, social life, culture, etc. And 14 of those women, I think 90% of them went on stage and said, I don't think I even deserve this award. And then it hit me that these are some of the challenges that we women are going to face all the time, because the society has shaped it for us like that. And the journey has not been easy. I've been a member of NSUI. I've worked in NSUI. Then I was appointed as state secretary for Delhi NSUI, and years of working as a state secretary, I was appointed as national coordinator. And the journey to climb up the ladder is still going on organizational level. I think right now we have 2 women in the national committee, and I'm hoping that that someday we'll be able to bring in at least 50% women in the organizational level. The system is such, that the culture, even in student politics, I was shocked to see this whole idea of muscle and money power is still just so prevalent. As a Delhi University student, I used to feel like, okay, here maybe students are coming from different cities to study. They will be educated, so they'll understand. But no, it's again, you put the names of candidates on chocolates, on this distribution of alcohol, money, this and that. And there's a huge chunk of students who will come and say, no, we will not vote only because we're apolitical. We are here to study, not engage in politics. So these are some of the barriers that I personally had to face. And despite of all of that, I have been able to, for now, example, when I go for demonstrations or protests, or women around me in my capacity, so that if you want to use the washroom, we'll proudly go and use the washroom. There's nothing to be ashamed of. It's just because men think that they can go anywhere, it does not mean that we have to stop ourselves. And when I go for protests, I make sure that I go with 5 to 10 other girls and women around me, because and protests. So these are some of the experiences that I have had, and I continue to have them. But I think one day at a time. And I think the only solution to sort of get rid of these issues is to have more and more women around you. I'm so sorry.
No, completely okay.
More women around me. I think that's the way to go forward.
Thank you, Arpita. Somewhere I heard from all 3 of you about the importance of community. Elsa shared that there were people from different political ideologies. You shared about 50% men and 50% women in Indian School of Democracy's cohorts. Pallavi, I think you have shared the importance of being a woman and sisterhood. And we have experienced that from you earlier also. So I would like to know from you, can you share a little bit about the community we form at ISD, and how has that been for you and in your journey?
To say that it was perfect, won't be an exaggeration, of course. Because in multiple ways, right? One, the first thing that gave me the confidence was that, oh, there are so many, because remember, I came from a mindset saying, like, politics is going to be difficult. Like, how do you enter? And then to see women like myself, actively looking to do the same thing, it gives you a lot of confidence. I always say, Shri Reps, the first thing it did was it gave me a lot of confidence saying, मैंने जो चुना है वो गलत नहीं है, बहुत सारी लड़कियां और भी हैं, और ये पॉसिबल हो सकता है. वो जो सबसे बड़ा बैरियर होता है कि ये पॉसिबल होगा क्या, है ना? तो it's very very that it gave me that saying that okay, that possible, it is possible. And उससे मुझे ये लगा कि चलो अभी सिर्फ मुझे जो करना है अभी सीखना है, अभी है ना, पॉसिबल तो हो सकता है. तो सबसे पहले the second thing is that the kind of women, I don't know if there was coincidence or what it was, we were like on day one we gelled, and it's been 2 years, and I still feel the love of each one of them, right? And they have my love. And that sisterhood, what it has done is, see, you will always have your political groups, and you will always have your political organizations, etc., where you will have to do your struggles. At the same time, you will have your this thing. Your cohort, what it did for me, and having that women's cohort, is it's always a good fallback place. One, of course, to discuss about political stuff, which is more more functional in the way that about politics, etc. But also the emotional support that you get with that group, right, is immense, right? And that I feel is very very important. Like just basic things that from asking help for stuff that you have never done before, to at the same time just general emotional support that you need, right? So it's always a group away from the help for me, this thing. And plus, of course, then meeting so many, as in, so was really, really good, because that gives you a next level of a network with women itself. So that was really helpful.
Thank you, Pallavi. I could see your excitement while I was speaking. You had unmuted yourself to just jump off after I would finish. Thank you for that, Elsa.
So, for me, Pallavi spoke about sisterhood, and I can't tell you, like in corporates at the executive level, at least at that time, it was all men, right? But in this space, I have depended on a lot of women to handhold me, guide me, mentor me, coach me, and I can't tell you the value of the sisterhood. Secondly, is if you can't see her, you can't be her. So, for example, I'm so excited to know now Pallavi exists and she's in Mumbai. And whatever political party, at least I know, okay, she's there and I can be curious about her work. But I know somebody who I can ask these questions. Can you show me what your day looks like? I'm so excited to meet Arpita because she spoke about going on the field and campaigning for a real election. I've never done that. But if I want to do that in the future, at least I can pick up the phone and call her. But if I didn't have these people in my network, for example, I couldn't do it. I can't ask those vulnerable questions because as leaders, you're always supposed to be strong, right? But none of us can be strong all the time. We also have doubts. We also have vulnerabilities. We also have questions. And sometimes society doesn't give us that space to feel like, in some areas we don't have all the answers. So how do we upgrade our knowledge? And so the more we see women in these positions, it's easier to then say, okay, if she did it, I can do it. And if she did it, maybe I can learn from her how she did it. I do a lot of mentoring, for example. Many young women and all the mistakes I made, and I guide them. Okay, ultimately, what they do is their decision, but at least I feel I didn't have that support when I started, but I can save somebody some pain, right? And I'm so proud that there were a lot of women who freely shared knowledge. They say often, true, I have had a lot of support from them, and of course men, but women in this sector that have helped me, guided me, pushed me, have been critical about me as well. And so I've had to do my best to prove myself to them, but it's made me a better person. And this sisterhood, I think we need more platforms that create that sisterhood.
Thank you, Elsa. Arpita.
Yeah, I think I'm just so happy today. I see some of my fellows from Democracy Express. I see Aruna, I see Ashita, I see Nikita, and I just feel so good here that there are people in the audience that I actually know and I've spent so much time with. I think Democracy Express was truly, truly a wonderful experience for me. I was so skeptical. I thought I read everybody else's bios and I was like, my God, I don't fit in there. And first day there, I felt so comfortable, so happy, and that's why I think Sagar was like, I'll say hi to everybody else, but I was so excited to see Shruti because I felt that instant connection that I, developed during those 9 to 12 days back there for the program. But yeah, and also like my vision expanded, like my perspective. For example, I was so limited to my political circle, or even if like my friendships were very different and everything. And when I stepped there, I end of the day, like end of the program, I realized my closest friend in the whole program was somebody from AVBP, and I never thought that that was even possible. And we used to joke all the time, and he'd tell me NSCY wale aise, I tell him, हाँ तुम लोग तो hooliganism ही करोगे, but at the end of the day, we just came together and to further our purpose to be in the political space. So I think my vision would not have spectrums in the political space. And absolutely, it becomes a family. It's not a family that you maybe see or talk to every day, but just like Elsa mentioned, that being able to understand each other's story just has a lot of impact in your life, and in terms of resource or materials, but also that emotional support. Like for example, I am here working for the municipality elections, and honestly, I do not have much knowledge about local body elections. I'm here because I want to learn more. And then I knew that I can reach out. There is a prospect for me to reach out from somebody to somebody from the. So yeah, I'm just super happy and blessed and grateful to be a part of this community.
Thank you, Arpita. I think all of us are from different places. We grew up in different places, in different backgrounds. But when I hear all of you, I feel what you have experienced and what you have um, felt. Or when I meet an Ashwita from Tamil Nadu, I feel that what she feels. When I meet Nikita from Hyderabad, I feel what she feels. I think experiences of women are largely very similar. Doesn't matter from where we are, from what language we speak, what we eat. It's mostly similar. And I think I would like to talk about She Represents as well. She Represents was my first program at ISD when I had joined, and it really helped me understand what ISD does and what it is about. And I am a proud feminist, and I talk about it all the time, no matter what. And She Represents, being a all women's program, uh, is one of my favorite programs, and I am so excited while I am working and preparing for She Represents 2022. Um, I would like to tell everyone about She Represents. She Represents is a 7-day online immersive program which is only for women. This year it's happening in May, from May 18 to 22, and then there is a week's gap, 28th and 29th May. Um, when we talk about challenges which women face in politics, I think She Represents is one of the ways to overcome many of those challenges, as shared by all three of you also. I think it's a uh, it's a very valuable program, especially if you want to get into a politics which is not derived from muscle power or money power, and if you are looking for support in your political journey, I think She Represents is uh, one of the programs which will be really helpful for you. Please apply. I would invite Sagar to share more. Sagar is my boss, so he will share more. Sagar.
Hi, Shruti. Thank you for the opportunity, not for the taunt of being a boss. Let me switch on my video. Wait. Yeah, thank you so much for the time today. I'm very grateful for the opportunity to listen to something like this, because I've always felt when people share openly, like there is so much to learn for other people. And I'm just always grateful that people around me are so vulnerable about what they want to share. So very grateful to listen. Just want to share in brief, very brief, the program She Represents. So it's a 7-day online program aimed at young aspiring women political leaders across India. So these are women who could be party members, they could be political activists, they could be media journalists, having a specialized role in politics. You could be anywhere, but as long as you're actively working in politics, this program would be the perfect fit for you. In terms of what are the key offerings, so that you can get a glimpse of what is the program about. One is you get an opportunity to interact with senior leaders of different parties. So you would have some from BJP, Congress, CPM, Trinamool Congress, RJD, or SP, talking about their experience, sharing about their expertise. Second thing is you get an opportunity to work on your political skills that are very relevant for your individual political journey. This could be political communication that you would use in your political career. That could be how would you go about org building, or could be research. or could be data analysis. So these are things which are very relevant for your immediate political career. We try to focus on some of those during the program. Third is, I think, what the conversation has been about so far. From different parts of country, different ideologies, different states, but having that belief ki why don't we have values in politics? Why can't we practice values in politics? So community तो बनता है अलग-अलग members से, but उसका core में वही रहता है कि हम politics को public service की तरफ ले जा सकते हैं. So that is something else that is a key of अपने काम का कि पॉलिटिक्स है क्या, या मैंने पॉलिटिक्स का क्या हिस्ट्री रहा है, या इंडियन पॉलिटिक्स का क्या हिस्ट्री रहा है. आई थिंक पॉलिटिकल नॉलेज इज आल्सो इंपॉर्टेंट, ताकि आप लार्जर स्कीम ऑफ थिंग्स में अपने काम को सिचुएट कर पाएंगे. सो दैट इज अनदर फोकस फॉर अस कि क्या हम आपको पॉलिटिकल नॉलेज का ग्लिम्स दे पाएं, ताकि आप उस डायरेक्शन में जा पाएंगे अपने आप भी. ऑनलाइन लर्निंग, you can reach out to me. I will share my contact number. I will share the email ID for any queries or anything. And my sincere request would be, if you know any aspiring woman political leader around you, please share about this program with them and do ask them to reach out to us. We would love to have individual conversation, group conversation, to make them aware about the program. And also do share about the program with everyone you know. So thank you so much, Shruti, for the opportunity. I work in the outreach department of the organization, so I will just share my details. And Shruti, back to you.
Thank you so much, Sagar. I think that would be really helpful for a lot of our audiences today. I would like to thank all three of you. Thank you so much for taking out time and talking to us today. I think it will be very helpful for our audiences, and especially for me, the conversation has been very inspiring and enriching. Thank you so much. Hope to see you soon.
Thank you,
Bye.
Shruti.
Thank you.
Bye. See you
Bye.
soon.
If
Thank
anyone,
you.
Thank
thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
If anyone has any questions, I'm happy to stay back for 10 minutes, like about the program or anything, so we can keep the room open for some
Yeah.
time. So yeah.
Hey, so hi Sagar, I'm Nikita. I was part
Hi.
of the ISD 2021. So I remember that I spoke with Ashwita and Shruti back then during the program, and they said that She Represents is almost like overlaps with Democracy Express, and if somebody has already done a Democracy Express, they don't necessarily have to do She Represents. So is that right?
Yeah, it is. Of the programs, but only one of these.
Acha. Okay. Yeah.
Nikita,
Good,
you can
thanks.
apply for TGP.
Is it did they start, like did the are the
No, no.
applications open?
No, we will let you know when we start. You can show your face though.
Yeah, Nikita, I want to see you.
Hi.
Shruti, you can stop the recording. Sorry.
Okay.
It's all
Sorry.
right.